Guys, welcome back to Alex Invest. It's good to be back. No, I have not filmed a video in about a week here, but there is plenty of reasons for that. A lot going on in my life right now. You know, the company that I work for, Hover Solutions, just exploding right now. A lot to do there with business development, just day-to-day stuff too. Same with the business that I run myself. And also, as you guys can see, I'm in a new room here, a new office, new place. I actually just moved a few days ago here, and I've just been busy, you know, getting kind of the place ready, etc. And there's not much on the walls yet, as you can see. We're still gonna have to update that quite a bit. If you guys have any comments on what I should put on the walls, let me know. Right now, we've just got our classic Alex Invest sign, of course. That's got to be there, right? So anyways, just want to let you guys know about that stuff. Now, what I really want to talk to you guys about today is kind of some big developments, because that's kind of the other reason I haven't made any videos. You know, there's not really anything going on in MVMD, no new updates at all there. Same with a lot of the other stocks. However, today I want to go through, like I said, a few big developments in Exro Technologies. Uplisting to the TSX, and we're going to go through why that's so big, but the Linamar, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but the Linamar partnership here, where they're developing a new e-axle with Exro's coil driver, that is going to be big, because Linamar, or however you say it, is a really big company too, generating billions in revenue. And so I really just kind of want to go through that and the potential that we might see there as well. Sticking with that clean tech kind of space there, CMC, right, uplisting actually to the TSXV from the CSE. Now that is good, but again, we've talked about this before with the likes of Very Good Food Company, with heat.cn, right? Although that was the reverse of what we saw with Very Good Foods, and now we're seeing the same thing here as we saw with Very Good Foods, right, from the CSE to the TSXV. Now, good things, sure, but again, it doesn't give much extra validation or any of that to the company. They are kind of both at the similar level. You know, if you're looking at the TSXV or the CSE, the one kind of really important thing about the TSXV is that they have more trading platforms to trade through, like Simple, which you can't usually trade CSE stocks on there, and some different listing requirements, but in general, it really just depends on how you want to, run the company and move forward with it, depending on which kind of exchange you'd want to list on. Anyways, that is nice to see too, though, but not as big of a deal as what we're seeing with Exro Technologies, and that's going to be the majority of the video here today. But just one more thing really that I want to mention about Cielo that's important here is you guys should follow them on Twitter. If you're a big investor here, or even any investor, and you're just looking for updates, etc., easy updates, go on Twitter, follow Cielo Way Solutions, because they post everything there. And they even recently, and this is why I bring it up, because they recently posted a YouTube video on their desulphurization process, where they are here. They're getting a better preliminary results than expected, which is very, very good news. But also you can just kind of see their entire desulphurization setup, how big that actually is, and what they're doing there. And it really just kind of gives validation of their whole process and all of that, right? So really good stuff there. I definitely recommend you go check it out. If you just go check out their Twitter page, you'll find that video there. So do check that out. Anyways, moving on to Exro Technologies here. Two big things, right? Conditional approval to list on the TSX, and the Linamar development of their new e-axle, right? So let's go through those. We'll quickly go through the TSX listing here first, just because it's kind of a quicker little thing here, right? We see they have conditional approval to list here. As we can see, final approval is just subject to company meeting certain customary conditions of the TSX. All very, very customary, just a few formalities really that need to be done here. And they'll kind of confirm a date upon which these common shares will start commence trading on the TSX. And of course, with that, delisted from the TSXV. And then just a little statement from Sue Ozdemir here. Now, what's so good about the TSX, right, is really they get validation from listing on the TSX compared to the TSXV. Right now, they're becoming a real company. And not saying that they weren't a real company before, but this really just kind of gives them approval and like I said, validation that they are kind of looking to grow into this much bigger company, and they'll do that through listing on the TSX. There's going to be new investors coming in, different investors coming in, right, to Exro here through this, and that's kind of the big thing about this. Now, that'll likely push us higher in price too, of course. Although that announcement didn't really initially push us up at all, right? That we got this announcement on Friday. We only saw about a 1% increase on Friday. That being said, on Thursday, we got that Linamar announcement, right, of how they're working on that e-axle, developing this new kind of technology here, and that pushed us up about 8%. So with those together, it kind of makes sense. We kind of had that big run the day before off that other news. Although I'm still surprised we didn't come up more. Now, moving on to the Linamar deal here. It again gives us full validation of this coil driver, right? The coil driver technology, which it's not just going to be implemented in this e-axle, it's going to be implemented all over the place. We already see we're getting to, you know, commercialization and implementation here within a lot of the companies that Exro already works with here. Even, you know, C Electric moving forward there quite a bit, and a lot of these e-bike kind of partnerships they have as well moving forward, and the Land motorcycle deal there as well, etc. Right, a lot of other ones kind of coming here to fruition, but it does show us we're getting closer and closer to commercialization here as well, and that kind of gets us right into this Linamar deal here with Exro, right? So we can see the planned completion here is Q2 2022, so a ways out. So it makes sense that we didn't come up too much from this news, right? Yes, they're in development here with a big company, right? The market cap is about $5 billion for Linamar here, but still, you know, they still have to make the product, they still have to validate the product, and then they can start selling it, which is again Q2 2022 is when they're looking to have validation and prototypes. And they're still going to need a little while more to kind of get that product to market, to commercialization there. So yes, it's great news that Exro is working with a big company like this, but at the same time, we're not going to see much of anything happen here for a little while you know, this validation is still happening, which again is going to take a while. So do keep that in mind. But as well, I think we're also going to see quite a few more deals like this coming out for Exro in the near future, especially to do with EVs and FCEVs, right? Because that's what this e-axle here is focusing on too. If we go down here, we can see right here the e-axles for BEVs and FCEVs, right? And this is kind of what the company is, like who the company is, kind of what they're doing. And I didn't really hear about Linamar before this deal came out, and I read through this, but yeah, obviously all this is accurate information. You can go through this, but I did my own research there as well, found out a few things about them. They do kind of have this product line of e-axles, and they're looking to implement those in the medium duty EV, or in the medium duty e-axle product that they have. I'll show you guys that in a second too. And now the other important thing to note here is Exro did go to Linamar with this, but Linamar said yes. So that's, you know, you take that as you want. You can take it in a good light or a bad light. Exro did come to them for the solution, but the solution is clearly one that is going to be successful. So that is good stuff there. I'm excited about this partnership, but I'm more excited about the coil driver and where it's going to go from this, right? Like this, again, it just adds to the validation for Exro, really, in my opinion. And from that, we might actually see near term revenues in some other kind of line, not right the Linamar deal, but working from that, people see this, right, and they go, oh, Exro is working with, you know, Linamar, well, maybe we can work with Exro too in kind of this field or something similar, right? So that's kind of where I see good things happening for Exro there in the nearer future. So this is kind of it right here, right? Hybrid power unit, electric all-wheel drive e-axle, and they're basically just looking to improve this with Exro's coil driver. So good things there. And we kind of already went over that they kind of have $7.4 billion in sales. This is their 3 months ended here, 2022 2021 compared to 2020, and we can see per quarter they have about $1.7 billion in sales there. So big numbers, and if Exro can get in there, that's going to be amazing revenues for them as well with their coil driver, etc. But again, we're not going to realize any of these revenues until Q2 2022 for this specific deal, but that does not mean we won't realize a lot of other revenues in the near term here moving forward. And then just to give you guys a better idea of kind of how big Linamar as a company actually is here and what they can do for Exro, let's just go to their stock price here. They're at $76 a share. We can see their market cap is about $5 billion here, 4.98 billion. And the sales, right, that we just looked at really speak for themselves here. A big company, big sales potential for Exro there moving forward, and I would not be surprised to see more kind of big partnerships here for Exro in the nearer term, moving into kind of those EVs, right? Because right now, they really haven't gotten into that EV game yet with their coil driver. They're in there with the BCS and their coil driver, but they haven't really had full implementation of anything in that EV space. But once they do, that's going to be obviously the biggest sector for Exro there, because that's kind of the biggest growing sector in the next 10 to 15 years that we're going to see and we're going to realize there, right? So big things happening. Other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. That's going to do it for me. And have a great rest of your Saturday. Have a great rest of your weekend. And I will see you guys next week.